Hey, cannabis traders and investors. So a wild day of volatility yet again. We have Cronos after the big pump leading to a big dump. We've got the psychedelic sector with a big dump as well. But there were some names that stood out strong and they were differentiating themselves among their peers in the sector. Let's look at who's stronger and who is weaker. So we'll start with Cronos, a bit of a disaster for some swing traders. And I was one of those swing traders, but fortunately it wasn't a disaster. So we had a strong close. After hours, we moved up a couple percent higher than where we closed, and everything looked fine. Even pre-market, everything looked fine. And then news hit. And news hit at 7:30 on the dot, and I love Fidelity because Fidelity is really fast with news. And I've been in chat rooms with traders back in the penny stock days, and I was always the first one to be posting news. So that's a bit of an advantage because it's 7:30 and 1 second, I see the news comes out. I don't know what that form is off the top of my head. So I click it, I see delayed financials. I know instantly that's bearish. So I quickly post that in the chat room and then I start filling out my sell order. And at this point in time, it's now 7:31. My sell order is filled out and I'm sitting there staring and I'm got my finger on the trigger. And you can see it was a very delayed reaction. And it's only a few minutes, but a few minutes is a lot. So the news hits right at 7:30 and we had no volume for 4 minutes. That's 4 minutes with the news out and no reaction. I was sitting there saying, I think this is bearish. I'm ready to sell, but nobody's selling. And I was watching and watching. And then the first sell hit the bid. And I said, okay, people are selling. I'm out and just want to be protective here. And so this is me on this candle at 7:34. And I was fortunate enough to get out at 6:65. So just in time because 10 minutes later, price is then 5% lower. So I just lucked out in the sense that I was at the computer, every morning was sunrise, I'm at the computer and preparing for the day. And so I was fortunate enough to have that news smack me in the face and allow me to skip a big loss. And it was I did give back a little bit because we, 1% lower than where we closed. But if I had missed that news, or if that news came out at 8 a.m. when I was off the computer, doing whatever, feeding the birds, then I would have had a few day loser. So that's one of the reasons why I do not love swing trading. Much prefer day trading. There's a lot more risk and reward with the swings. So a bummer for those that were trapped because that is a pump and dump. Big pump, big dump. And just like that, we go from lead Canadian MJ bull to lead Canadian MJ bear in an instant. And so now Cronos is the lead Canadian MJ bear. We're going to look for a higher low to try and form compared to 511. But as far as, when are we going to be back at that top of 679? It could be a while. They were deflated as far as any momentum that the bulls had. So with that, a star emerged. CGC, very nice laggard move. So there's a pattern here the last 2 days. We drop into 5-minute oversold conditions. Yesterday, it was the first 15 minutes. Today was the first half hour. But then we have this slow grind, just this grind for the bulls, keeping control all day. And look at this 5-minute EMA 12, this red line that I use on all time frames when I'm trading. We just rode it up, higher lows bouncing off of it, and we held it all the way until 2 p.m. yesterday. And again, just grinding that level and staying strong. And we held it into the end of the day. Looks like we're a bit lower after hours, but very strong bounce follow through. So why was CGC stronger today? The simple answer that I always give when people ask that question, obviously sometimes there's fundamental reasons, news specific or whatever. More people were buying than selling. Sometimes it can be that simple. So why are more people buying CGC? Well, technically it's still a bit of a laggard, or it was before today. TLRY and peers were stronger than CGC. And if you look at CGC right now, where are we comparative to the low of Friday? Well, compared to the low of Friday, we're up 23%. And you look at TLRY, who was stronger yesterday and weaker today, TLRY from the low of Friday is up 22%. So we're pretty much at the same point. It just seems like there's major differences because TLRY led yesterday and then CGC catches up today. But we broke daily resistance. Again, I'm talking about daily trend changes a lot. When this move tops out, we must set a daily higher low and higher high. That is the most important factor. Resistance from here is 1413. 1465 as two levels that stand out, with 1465 being the more important level for me. The question now is, how long can the bulls maintain an hourly uptrend before we top out and start daily consolidation? The other good news for the sector bulls today, or for the bulls that stood out, was the fact that the broader market started consolidation today. So this CGC was going inverse to SPY for a significant part of today's trading action, which is very unusual for this sector. And that's something that I'm watching for. Correlations are very important to me because when we're in blue sky euphoria, we have bullish correlations with the broader market. And we know the last 6 months, we've had bearish correlations with the broader market. Every time the broader market takes 2 steps forward, we take 1 step forward. Every 1 step back, we take 2 steps back. What I need to see for this sector to continue to have our attention as finding a cycle bottom is consistent bullish correlation with the broader market. Disregard broader market weakness and be helped by broader market strength. That's very important, and today was an ideal example with CGC. So the hourly uptrends are guide. Anything above the low of today, 1227, is an hourly higher low. Generally, when we lose the hourly uptrend, daily consolidation begins. That's a generalization. So we'll be watching for a loss of the hourly uptrend to tell us, okay, zoom out, scout a daily higher low. A bull that's not in at this point and wants in for a longer term swing entry is waiting for daily consolidation. And let's say we top out at 1440 and we pull back to 1360. I can be making entries, scaling in and putting my stop under the low. And then the bulls must prove that trend change. So good day for the CGC bulls. Clear lead Canadian MJ bull today. ACB earnings are today. We're reacting. A little bit of a dip. That's why CGC is down right now. So drop on ACB. That's a pretty big drop. Where did we close? 743. So a 5% drop initially. Now it's more like a 2% drop. So certainly not a bullish reaction. We can say that much. And we're watching the hourly. We'll call anything above 694 an hourly higher low. But when the hourly uptrend is lost, we must confirm a daily trend change here with a higher low and higher high. So the question into tomorrow will be, can the bulls hold the low of today, 694? And if the answer is yes, I'd say that's a win. Just keep the bounce going. Don't lose that momentum. TLRY, nice follow through. Not the lead bull, but it did bounce. And we had a nice 15-minute equilibrium break bull where we just tightened up on the 15-minute time frame. I didn't do any Canadian MJ, or I didn't do any MJ trading today. I was playing the Tesla flush and bounce, and I did trade CMPS. We'll go over that in just a moment, but did not trade cannabis today. So nice 15-minute tightening range. This would have been the trade to take. You know, CGC continues to run, TLRY a bit of a laggard, but the bull break here of 1217 and breaking the high of the day, which was a double top right after that. Very nice follow through and a very quick 4% move. So same thing, when we lose the hourly uptrend, we'll zoom out, we'll scout a daily higher low, keeping in mind we have changed the daily trend. We are in a daily uptrend. This was a low, top of the bounce, held support, broke resistance. So that's a higher low and a higher high. So now zooming out, we're looking for our weekly resistances. But again, the bulls want to keep an hourly uptrend as long as possible. Our hourly higher low is 1190. So that 1190 level is a key support tomorrow if the bulls are going to keep this stair-step uptrend going as long as possible. Next resistance after 1271, we're looking at 1296, 13 psychological. VFF bullish reaction to earnings, and definitely getting a shout out here just because of how significantly it has moved off of its lows. And again, it's very comparable to CGC and TLRY, 24%. So they're all right there with each other from the low of Friday. And next resistance is 981 after the high of today, 952. But again, we must confirm. Actually, no, we did a little trend change there. Bulls just want daily higher lows and higher highs to continue as long as possible. Anything above 836 will be an hourly higher low. Next time we consolidate. Watch peers. I don't care if you're a diehard CGC, all in CGC. You got to watch TLRY and ACB and Cron and watch what the peers are doing because there are clues there. And one name is going to lose its hourly uptrend first, and then the next name's going to lose it, and then everybody will lose it eventually, but not yet. So that's Canadian MJ. Canadian MJ gets the big win today comparative to US MJ. These bounces on Canadian MJ are stronger than US MJ right now at this moment. And I can say that because I don't care who goes up faster and stronger. And again, that's the benefit of my technical analysis is I do not care who is stronger. Whoever is stronger is going to get my attention more. And yesterday we had the momentum sucked out of USMJ in the final 30 minutes of trading. I did a video about it 11 months ago that I honestly forgot about. And it was with some information from Todd Harrison and some other folks who were looking at ways that some big money players were crushing the price and then doing cash subscriptions. I'm not going to explain it right now because I have a whole video explaining it, but it's from December 2020 and it's called Marijuana Sector Shenanigans or something like that. I think Shenanigans is in the title. I'll post it in the comments of this video. But it's worth looking at because in my opinion, that's probably what happened yesterday and a good refresher. And I needed that refresher myself. But the momentum has been lost because daily consolidation is underway. So what we have now, at least the short-term momentum is lost. Now it's time for the bulls to prove it. We've got our low, high, and we're looking for a daily high or low now. And we got to watch our retracement sizes. Alt F from the low to the high. Bulls want to hold 382 or less. 50% or more favors an equilibrium. And again, that's the scenario where we look to trade within a tightening range through a good bit of November if we keep pulling back from here. At the moment, we're in a gray zone where we're in the middle of the 50% and the 382. So it can still go either way, but the bulls have to have a solid green day tomorrow to give confidence. What we need for a daily higher low to form is an hourly trend change back to the bulls. And an hourly trend change would be a higher low. Let's try that again. Higher low holding 29.05 and bull break of 30.29, which would be an hourly trend change to the bulls, which would then set our daily higher low at 29.05. And then from there, the bulls have to break 31.58 to confirm the daily trend change and follow through. If tomorrow we break 29.05, that is definitely a loss for the bulls because again, we have a very wide range and the further we fall back, the further we retrace, the longer we can trade within this range. So tomorrow's a pretty big day for me as far as can bulls keep this momentum. And again, the fact that we've started daily consolidation and we have TLRY and ACB and CGC all near their recent highs, and we're 6% off the high on MSOS right now, have to show up tomorrow. TCNNF daily consolidation started. We filled the gap. MSOS has a gap as well. 28.69 will be our target if 29.05 breaks. So TCNNF, same deal. What's our retracement size? Do this on everybody that you're interested in, 50% retracement. So hourly time frame has to change the trend, which means we must hold 27.47 and break 29.58 for a confirmed hourly trend change to set the daily higher low. Tomorrow's a big day. If we break support of 27.47, bears win in the short term, and we're still stuck in this sideways range that we've been within for months. Keep in mind, earnings are still coming up for most of these names. Cureleaf reacted to earnings, and it had a big pullback. Retracement size, over 50%, red flag. So we're still looking for a higher low compared to 890, but again, for these bulls to turn right around, in the absence of news, it's going to be real hard to break this high of 1110 anytime soon. We need another 12% move from where we stand right now. So the bulls need an hourly trend change back in their favor for the daily higher low to be set, but due to the size of this retracement, we then look for a daily lower high to be the result of that bounce. Because think about the psychology of what's going on. Bulls that sat through this run and were hoping for more and get crushed and disappointed again, they potentially get a second chance where if we see a bull move up on the daily now, up towards 1050, bulls that didn't sell the first time we went into the upper $10 range are going to try, some of them are going to then try and get a second chance to make that exit. And again, that's the same thing I was talking about where in yesterday's video I said, even if the bulls show up today, we're scouting hourly lower highs. And GTBIF did that. We must have had ETF buying. I didn't look at that volume yet. But we had the bounce, and we knew to be looking for the hourly lower high, anything under 24.38. And the bulls must confirm the hourly trend change. That's ETF buying, in my opinion. There wasn't news that I'm aware of. Either way, we'll see. But I'm ignoring that as far as that big upper wick. For me, it's the low of the day, the high of the bounce, and the bulls must break that level 2307 tomorrow for us to say hourly trend change back to the bulls. And we haven't started daily consolidation here. It's an inside bar. So no daily high or low is forming unless the inside bar breaks bear. So that is one step ahead of other names, just in the sense that we held the low of yesterday. So that support is still intact, whereas everybody that we've looked at on USMJ so far broke the low of yesterday. Who am I missing? CRLBF? Same thing for CRLBF. It stood out a little bit stronger yesterday because it held hourly support. And look at it again today, daily inside bar. So no daily consolidation unless the low of today breaks tomorrow. And just an hourly tightening range. We did break that hourly support, but not much follow through. More sideways trading the last 8 hours or so. So a couple names with daily inside bars, not starting daily consolidation. A couple names breaking the lows of yesterday, starting daily consolidation, and looking for a daily higher low to try and form. So if we have a green day tomorrow, bulls will keep hope as far as short-term follow-through. And again, I'm taking this one day at a time. So trend changes take a long time to play out. Daily trend changes take a few days, but then a weekly trend change, that takes weeks. You have to see a bull move, you have to pull back and set a weekly high or low. You then have to change the weekly trend. So these moves, if you're looking long-term, just keep in mind every single day doesn't matter if you're looking on the monthly perspective, because it takes a long time for trends to change one at a time. So psychedelic space, we got CMPS trial results, and pre-market, the sector exploded. The sector looked great. Look at this move from the close yesterday, 43s. We shoot up to 61, and it's very thinly traded. Some poor soul bought $60 today and lost 50% in a matter of hours. But it was a bull pump, and I posted even on Twitter, trial results out, big time pumps, and then 20 minutes later, could easily see the fading. Caution bulls, tons of profit taking pre-market, and at that point, we have to be cautious of a sell the news event. So again, not into the fundamentals in the sense that I have no idea what the trial results said, but I know how the market reacted, which is all I care about. Because if the trial results were excellent and the market dumped, the market dumping matters more to me. And if the trial results sucked and the market pumps, that matters more to me. So the price action matters more to me than whatever the words say in the press release. So CMPS, huge pump, gave it all back, and then a massive dump. Look at this volume. We had 20 times the average daily volume in today's candle. And from that high, we have pulled back massively. We didn't establish much support on the way up, thinly traded on the way up, thinly traded on the way down, but essentially 3 weeks of pricing in these results, leading to a 2-day 40% drop. Big time drop. I attempted to play this bounce today, and I made some wins. They were very small. It was nothing notable. And it was down here where I made a little entry and then, sold half into a small bounce, put my stop under the low at that point, try and let it play out. And it didn't. Should have sold it in the 34s. That would have been a solid win. But I sold half in the 32s, and then I sold the second half in the 32s again after we started falling back down. And then I went to lunch, and I missed the move, which was unfortunate. But when you do this every single day for 8 hours every single day, you have to leave the computer. And usually every day at noon, I do my best to get off the computer. And that's when we found our bottom. And by the time I came back to the screen, we were up 12% off the low. And so I just don't like the risk to reward at that point. It was essentially a new low of the day with zero follow through, and then the bull volume started showing up, which marked our bottom. And we did bounce 20% into the end of the day. So it was a very worthwhile bounce, but just the timing was off for me as far as missing it. But again, when you're talking longevity and doing this for decades, that's going to happen all the time and can't have any FOMO about that. Otherwise, I'll sit at the computer 8 hours straight and go insane in a year. So other names dumped with it. ATAI had a better bounce. And at this point, I am no longer in any psychedelic plays. This is why I scale out into some profit. You know, I took ATAI profit back here, I think it was last Wednesday, and I don't care about leaving money on the table because what I'm avoiding is giving money back. Take it, put it in my pocket, thank you, see you next trade. And I obviously gave some back on today's drops, but all out psychedelic names until this sorts itself out, and still in some core USMJ names and sticking to day trading Canadian names. That's where I stand at the moment. So solid bounce on ATAI. This bounce off the low, 1380 to 1537. That's got to be 10% or so. So a significant bounce there. But we'll need an hourly trend change. And we might get it after hours here. But anything above 1380 is an hourly high or low. And then the bulls tomorrow have to break 1590 for trend change follow through. So the best bounce in the sector was ATAI. Very hard weekly rejection. So what we're looking at now is inverse head and shoulders attempt. Resistance, there's our head. Neckline is a double top at 1790. And here's the right shoulder trying to form. Have to hold the all-time low for a weekly high or low, and then break 1790 for a confirmed trend change. Earnings are coming up next week. That will certainly be a factor. Mnmd hit as well. Big bear volume. Weak bounce, did never get anything going. Earnings approaching. Weekly consolidation underway. We must hold 216 and break 294 to confirm the weekly trend change. And again, look at pre-market where we went from the close at 280 and we shot up 20% and then gave it back. Someone sold a bunch of shares here. Pat on the back to whoever that was. 1.5 million. Able to get that off above $3 before a 20% drop lower. So bull momentum being sucked out of the psychedelic space. There will still be volatility in trades there for short-term traders as we watch for hourly trend changes to try and take place. USMJ bulls, big day tomorrow. Need green. Have to set those daily higher lows on names that have started consolidation. CGC, TLRY, grinding up. ACB, bearish reaction to earnings. So we'll see how that impacts things. Bears are going to keep trying here. So if we open lower on CGC tomorrow, let's say we open at 1380, there will be bears trying to top fish the high of today first thing and hoping that we start some consolidation. Broader market will be a major factor. I wouldn't try and short these bull momentum moves unless the broader market is helping with downside further daily consolidation. But one day at a time, as always. Hope you are well. Don't forget to do good things, and we will see you soon. Big day for USMJ tomorrow.